Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I'm actually running a little late this morning. I'm sure this has happened to you guys too. I woke up, it was a little before 2 a.m. If you watch my channel, you know I usually wake up at 2 a.m. and I start going through the news feeds trying to figure out what if a story strikes me, if it reminds me of something that happened in my life, I'll pick a story to talk about. And today was one of those mornings where I look at the clock, I get up, I say my prayers and everything, and I start looking through the news feed, and I look at the clock, and it's about 2:05. And then next thing I know, I look over the clock, and it's like 2:45, almost 3 o'clock, and I had fallen back asleep. It's one of those rainy, wet mornings here. I could hear the rain outside pouring down and everything, and I fell back asleep this morning, so I'm running a little late. Okay, I'm going to talk about Britney Spears and the book again this morning. I want to assure anybody that watches my channel, my regular subscribers, this is not turning into the all Britney all the time channel like I said about Bam Margera too. It's just this book comes out. If in case you're curious, this book comes out Tuesday, and every day there's more juicy detail. I can't believe I'm saying that. I sound like one of those gossip people. More juicy details, and these are juicy. I've got about 3 different stories here that I'm going to talk about today, and one of them, once again, reminds me of something that happened in my life. I'm going to save that for the end of the video, just in case, because it's a little explicit, and some people probably just don't want to hear, who am I and who cares what happened in my life. So I'm going to save that for the end of the video. So I understand if you want to shut the video off. Please don't, because it's an interesting story. But anyway, okay, so like I said, this book comes out Tuesday, The Woman in Me. And I found these 3 stories to talk about. And sometimes I'll do a search to find more different articles on these stories, because sometimes TMZ doesn't have all the information, and other stories will have more information about these stories. And as I was searching this morning, I found that something else interesting, something that just popped up like an hour or 2 ago, that Britney actually shut down her Instagram account a few hours ago, purportedly because of all the backlash from everything she said about, like the video I talked yesterday. I talked about something very personal about Justin Timberlake. So apparently her Instagram account from time to time she shuts it down, and it's shut down right now because of all the buzz. That's got to be great for her though. It really does. If I was putting out a book, this is like the perfect firestorm before a book comes out, because I'm somebody that never had an interest in Britney Spears, and I want to buy the book and read it now. Seriously. Okay, so I learned a few things this morning. There's some people involved in this that I didn't even know who they were. So I'm going to tell you. Annette Artieri. Now, I didn't know who she was. If you're a Britney Spears fan, maybe you know. She helped write this book. And I guess she's one of Britney's friends. And I guess she's got parts in the book where she talks about, she puts her version of some of the stuff that happened in the book. I guess she puts her 2 cents in the book. The first thing I'm going to talk about is apparently she had an affair with Wade Robinson. I didn't know who Wade Robinson was, and I can understand why. When I had to Google his name. He's an Australian dancer and choreographer. Okay, so apparently this is what happened apparently. Justin Timberlake found a 14-page breakup letter that Britney Spears had written, and she put it in her makeup bag. And I'm not one of those guys. I have never gone through any of my girlfriend's stuff, because I don't want to know. I don't want to find stuff. I don't want to know things. I don't want to know their personal stuff. I don't. If they hide it, there's a reason, and I don't want to. I'm just one of those guys. But apparently, Justin is one of those guys. And I guess he went through her makeup bag, and he found this 14-page breakup letter. And I guess they had a little affair, for lack of a better word. And this is another reason. I guess this is the other side of the story of why Justin Timberlake and Britney broke up. Maybe it wasn't Justin breaking up with Britney, not Britney breaking up with Justin, but because Justin found this letter about a little affair that Britney had with Wade Robinson. And he found this letter to Wade Robinson, this 14-page letter that he broke up with her. Okay, down below there's a link. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because it's very personal, and it has to deal with her reported pregnancy, and it's a very sad story. She didn't want the public to know about this, and apparently she had it done at home. I've never heard of this before, but I don't live in California or in Hollywood, so I guess I can understand why. So she had this procedure done at home, and I'm not going to talk a real lot about this. She says she remembers a lot of painful. She remembers laying in the bathroom. This is kind of weird. I don't know how, I don't know. Part of me almost wants to make a joke about this. I'm not gonna, but she says she remembers Justin strumming a guitar, trying to calm her down as she was laying on the bathroom floor. And I know this is wrong. I'm probably going to get kicked back for this, but in my mind, I just get this vision of a Saturday Night Live skit, and I know there's nothing funny or anything about the procedure or anything like that, but the vision of Justin Timberlake, with his guitar, trying, it seems like a stupid kind of shallow thing to do, strumming. Anyway, this will make you feel better, playing a guitar, sitting on the bathroom floor. That's what popped into my mind. I don't think there's anything funny about that, but I'm being honest with you. Okay, let's move on here. This is interesting. This is what I'm gonna. When I read this story, I didn't know I didn't know how to take it. Apparently, she had a two-week little fling with Colin Farrell. I've always really liked Colin Farrell as an actor. He's one of those guys that I just like his. I just recently saw a movie where he was. I think the movie was supposed to be in Ireland, and he was an annoying person, and he was friends with another guy, and the other guy decided to break up their friendship, and Colin Farrell just couldn't deal with it, and the two ended up almost. Well, I won't give up the movie, but I forgot what the name of the movie is. It just came out in 2021 or 2022, and it's a great movie fantastic movie with Colin Farrell. I'll try to find the name of it and put in the link down below. Anyway, she had this fling after Justin broke up with her in 2002 with Colin Farrell, and she describes it as a 2-week brawl. Okay, so when I saw this headline, I didn't know how to take this. I didn't know if it was just like a very passionate romance, which it turns out that's what she was talking about, or if it was just a very argumentative, like they were almost literally, going at each other, just they didn't get along kind of thing. I didn't know which way to take this. And after I read it, so I guess BRITNEY accompanied Colin to the premiere of the Recruit. I remember seeing that movie too. I enjoyed that movie, not as much as other ones, she accompanied him to the premiere, and this is during their 2-week dating period. And I'll probably use one of the pictures on the thumbnail. And Colin describes her. Both of them said they weren't in a actual relationship, so this was just like an intense fling, a street brawl, as she called it. And Colin described her as a sweet, sweet girl. And then after this, it's kind of sad too, because you learn more about BRITNEY. Because after this whole thing with Colin, she described herself as feeling very isolated, and she felt awkward all the time and everything. And I saw another interview too where she felt like she was acting like a teenager. She didn't know how to act. And it sounds very sad, her whole sheltered life, and it really gives you, I can't believe I'm saying this, I was never a big Britney Spears fan. All right, so this is what I want to talk about, because I do remember some people, if you got married young and everything, and, you, God bless you, and, and you didn't make a lot of mistakes like I did. Like, if you don't know, I'm coming up Monday, I'll come up on 17 years clean and sober. But for 2.5 decades almost, from the time I was in my teens till I was 40, I was a full-blown addict and alcoholic. And I'd go to the bars every night and the weekends and everything. And after that, I would go to what they call after-hours clubs, owned by biker clubs. And I would stay there till dawn or into the next day, or for 48 hours or for days. And I've experienced a lot of things. And this it does remind me of a relationship I had. And I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of this at all. As a matter of fact, I can't even remember this woman's name. And like I said, I'm not proud of that. I thought of that before I was going to make this video. I was trying to think of her name and I can't remember it. And I don't want to lie to you guys and make up a name. I know I was like, I could make up a name, but that doesn't seem right. She worked at an AM/PM mini mart, and I was a truck driver. And our terminal was right up the street back when I was about 25 years old. And I would go in there every day to get my coffee before I hit the road in my truck. And she was a very pretty woman. I've always attracted very dominant. A lot of women too that I've dated were tall because I'm 6'3", 6'4", and I think a lot of women don't, if they're like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", they don't want to date a short guy because it makes them look, extremely tall. So a lot of times I've dated women that were like 5'8", 5'9", maybe even 5'10", very attractive, but they're on the bigger side. And a lot of times I've attracted women that are very dominant, not dominant, but very. They know what they want, and I've always enjoyed it, because it cuts through a lot of BS, and it's been some of the most passionate relationships. And also, they're some of the most, like with Audrey. Audrey was very headstrong, my soulmate that died 2 years ago from COVID. And she was very strong-willed, and she had a great job. She would find jobs. She would work her way up in these careers, and just, she made good money. She was very successful, and it's one of the good parts of dating somebody that's very headstrong. So anyway, I was stopping this AM/PM every morning, and this girl, I'm not proud of this, but she was going to be married, and she would flirt with me every morning. And she was telling me how she wanted to meet me and one of the other truck driver friends, the two of us and her friend at the bar. This is interesting because I just talked in a video. I talked about Ron DeSantis looking like he was using something. If you go back about 5 or 6 days, this is that night. This is that exact night that I talk about in that video, the Ron DeSantis video, where he looks like he's geeking or tweaking. This is that night. So me and my other truck driving buddy, I was reluctant, but my buddy wanted to, of course, he wanted to go for it. And I knew this woman was going to be married the next week, but she wanted to go out and kind of have a fling with me, or with anybody really, before she got married. And like I said in the other video, me and my friend were partying in the parking lot, and then we went in, and I didn't say this part in the video, but we ended up going into the bar, and we ended up splitting up, and I went home with this girl to my place. And this is one of my first apartments. It was a small apartment, and I had a it was actually a 4-piece sectional, like the corner piece, and then 2 pieces over here, and a piece over here, and the corner piece, 4-piece, and like a coffee table, and then another chair. And it was a small living room. It was a 3-4 bedroom. No, I'm sorry. 2-bedroom, 4-room apartment, one of my first apartment when I was 25 years old. And like I said, I had indulged a lot. This is back when I was using and drinking. And the next morning, I got up, and I still can't remember what actually occurred that night. I swear to God, I can't remember. But I woke up, and as soon as I got up, my knees hurt so bad, incredibly bad. And some people might be able to relate to this. I had terrible burns on both knees and on my elbows. I guess you would call them rug burns. And that wasn't the worst of it. I got up and I walked into the living room. Like I said, I still don't remember what exactly took place. And the 4-piece sectional was in different areas of the, everything moved around the entire, it looked like there was an earthquake. The 4-piece sectional was each piece was in a different area of the living room. The TV stand was moved over. Everything was out of place. Everything was tipped over and moved out of place. And I was afraid that I was going to get a knock on the door from my neighbors or from somebody that morning. That morning I couldn't remember what happened. I still don't remember what happened. But it reminded me of this street brawl kind of relationship. Like I said, this woman, she was about 5'8", and she was a very beautiful, curvy woman. I've always been attracted to long-haired brunettes, curvy women. And I guess after that, she went and got married. And I actually saw her in a store. It was probably a year later. I was buying jeans in a store, and I looked over, and she was right there. And I went over and I said, "Hey," and she looked kind of nervous. And she said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I don't think she remembered my name either. And she said, "My kids are right over there, and my husband." And they were in the store. So I said, "Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Nice seeing you again. Bye." And I walked away. And that's the last time I ever saw her again. Like I said, I'm not proud of this, but for some people, they might not be able to relate to this kind of relationship. It's unusual. It's when the chemistry is just right. When you're very attracted to somebody, it might not be a love relationship, but it's a very chemistry, physical relationship. And some people, I can only remember one time in my entire life that this happened, this time. And like I said, I think it kind of destroyed my apartment, and I was left with burns on my body from this, and I still don't remember how I got them. Anyway, that's today's video. The links will be down below. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Saturday.